Hello. So, The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit and all of Middle-earth has been inspired by real-world events. And this is one of the things that many believe is the contributing factor to, or a contributing factor to why it's so popular. It's easily relatable to us because of these parallels it draws to things in history. And as a game master, there's a lot of inspiration you can take from our everyday, world. Whether it's watching the news, which is mostly what this video is about, or other things that happen in your life. And when it comes to your setting, a lot of people when they're homebrewing a setting, they start small and make it big. And, they start just focusing on a small area, like a town. Well, think of typical things that happen in your town. Maybe you live in a small town and there's festivals, there's farmers markets, on certain days of the week. There's, you have big events that happen in towns nearby and everyone from your town goes there. Like there's so many things you can take as inspiration for your setting, or even just your game, your actual adventures. When it comes to setting stuff, I get a lot of ideas from watching other people's videos and the news and the radio and things like that. I listen to a lot of talk radio. I listen to podcasts while I'm at work. I listen to all sorts of different things. And some of the stuff that you can take from the news, for example, like some of the unfortunate events that kind of happen, you can take inspiration from those. And yeah, that sucks, but it's real life, and because of it, people can easily relate to it. And that's what you want. You kind of want your characters to feel a connection to this world somehow. And with a fantasy world, it's easy to bombard the players with all this fantastic stuff that is sometimes unrelatable. But when you add real, relatable conflicts, then you can spice up your world. Now, what do I mean? Well, maybe you have a bad guy. And this is something that kind of popped into my head earlier today. You have a bad guy. And the players either capture him, get him arrested, kill him. Maybe he's a bandit, we'll say. He's one of 10 bandits, and what they do is they raid merchants on the road. So you're between two cities, and you catch these bandits and turn them in. Or you kill them all, whatever. The players go to the next city and they find what appear to be starving civilians, peasants, with very little money, and maybe it's 10 families, the first 10 families on the edge of town, and none of their fathers are there. Now, maybe you don't point it out like that, but maybe it comes up in dialogue. Or maybe they're really considered more freedom fighters. They're actually, one, they've had everything taken from them. Two, all they're trying to do is feed their families and actually are pretty non-violent when it comes down to it, or that's what the rumor is. Maybe, it could be a lot of things. But point is you draw the connection of sympathy for their families who think good of them, and the players just killed them. So you can draw on things that make them go, oh my gosh, I didn't think of that. It's a little bit of a moral dilemma, I guess. Some stuff you can take from real world though, like the news. You think of like gangs in Los Angeles, or even your big cities near you, how they fight over turf wars and they mark their territory. You could easily do that in a game setting. Maybe it's two cults that share a city, and so they're always marking the different buildings, by etching their stuff into it or whatever. For example, right now you have a lot of fighting with the Democratic, inside the Democratic Party here in the United States. And it's everyone on the Bernie Sanders side feeling robbed, and you have the Hillary side, who's it is what it is. I don't want to get into politics really in this video, but my point is maybe you, out of something similar, maybe there was a rigged election and you have an uprising of the population against the government, which, and maybe all this stuff is happening in your setting and real close by in just different cities. Religious wars among common believers, and take the inspiration from the Sunnis and the Shiites, for example, or Protestants and Catholics, or something. I mean, I know that's not really going on, but you have all sorts of religions fighting each other, extremist Muslims and non-Muslims, things like that. Maybe you have monetary or resource wars. I know there's been talks that eventually there's going to be wars over water, especially in the Middle East, I guess. I don't know how true this is, but I seen something on Facebook. So it's got to be true, right? But maybe in your world, you have two cities. Neither of them are bad. They just both need this resource. Maybe it's fresh water. Maybe it's something else. But yeah, you have them warring over that. And it could have been going on for years, and it's just a petty war over this stuff. You could take inspiration from, maybe something's in the news about a charity. And so you incorporate that into your game by having a group of people who are raising, maybe it inspires you for a town, that, hey, these rich people came into town and not only taught the people how to read, but they're giving them farm equipment, or they're doing something to make the town better, and they're just doing it out of the goodness of their own heart. Maybe that inspires something in you, and something like that might make your players go, why are these people in this town? It might cause the players to come up with issues that aren't there, and then it might be a nice story hook. It might force some nice improv in your games. It might do a lot of things. Or maybe the players are like, oh wow, these people are good, I want to help this town too, or who knows. But that might be something kind of interesting. Maybe there's so many things. Maybe something bad happened at work and you want to put that into your game. Maybe there's conflict among people who have to work together at work, and what it does is inspires you to create a rival adventuring party that doesn't get along. They're supposed to, because they need each other, but there's these two hate each other. Everyone else gets along with both of them, and maybe the leader gets along with both of them great, or their family, or who knows, but they got to stay together, and that could create some interesting stuff. So there's a lot of things you can take for inspiration from your real world games, or for your games from the real world, and the possibilities are endless. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up there, but I would love to hear the types of things. Maybe this video inspired an idea. I'd love to hear it below. Or maybe something going on in your life right now has inspired something and you want to share that. I'd love to hear, inspirations you've gotten from the real world, whether it's politics, sports, just television in general, or the newspaper, magazines you read, work, everyday life, Pokemon Go. I don't know. But I would love to hear it. And if you would just leave that in the comments below, that would be terrific. So with that, I'll talk to you guys next time. Thanks.